Alright, this is how I make paper tatami. I only had 3 packages of flyers. I already made one. I didn't position the camera right. Let's try again. This is going to be really thin though because I only got 1 roll. Alright, in these particular packages of flyers, the Coleman's one is extra long. So lay that one aside to start. And get one of these ones for your middle. And when I do them, I like to lay them a long way. You get a longer roll that way instead of doing them, you know, like this way or that way or something. Anyway, so with the long piece, I'll just fold over the top a couple inches so you don't have this messy loose bit sticking out the top. Now, I tried to line up at least one end, and this will be your bottom, because you end up with this regardless of what you do anyway. But at least you got one, and then it's more or less lined up, and that's, you know, makes it a little easier to stand it, right? So anyway, you line up to one end, and I'll pile up 3 or 4 flyers. I think it's better if you open them up like this, because if you were to just lay them like that, for example, you're going to end up with a piece that's not strong in the middle, and when you hit it, it's more likely it's just going to flop over than, you know, stay stiff and cut. So the more pieces that you actually open up all the way like that, the stiffer your roll is going to be, and probably the more effective your cutting is going to be. Now, it doesn't hurt if you got, you know, a couple of small sheets that you just stick them in somewhere to thin, but I would think you'd want at least half of them to be opened up. Anyway, I won't do the whole pile before I start rolling. I only pile up 4 or 5 or 6, you know, so you got a little bit. And when you roll it, you don't want to make it super tight, because you want water to get in there, and it's going to swell up anyway once they do get wet. And you want to leave a little bit of space in the middle, about enough room to stick your finger in there like that, because A, it lets water in, and B, it will fill up anyway. Anyway, once I get that done, I'll just hold that between my legs for a second. And lay out some more sheets. And basically just keep repeating this process until the whole roll is done. It's not fun. When you're trying to do a whole bunch of them, after about the 3rd one, you'll get pretty freaking tired of it. Yeah, all this effort to make them, and, you know, seconds to cut them. Usually I won't pile this many before I roll some, but I'm trying to do this quickly because, you know, who wants to watch a 20-minute video on rolling up paper? So yeah, line up so your bottom end at least is more or less lined up. Roll it again, once again, not super tight, you know, but not loose either. You want it firm. And I usually give a little tap like that. And that's pretty much it. Now, normally I would put another batch around there, but because I don't have any more flyers, this is going to be a skinny one. I'll tie it up with 3 ties. And I like to do this just to keep things tidy. I cut off the bit of the excess string there so you don't have all kinds of loose bits hanging around. That's it. That would be your top, your loose messy bit. and the tighter bit is the bottom. And soak it for, the first time I made one, I soaked it for about 2 hours, took it out of the water and cut it within maybe 5 minutes. The thing was dripping wet, and I had no problems with it. It was soaked all the way through. It cut your spine. The ones we used last Saturday, those soaked for about 4 hours, which is way more than it needed. And I stood them on end in the bathtub for probably 14 or 15 hours, which is probably way more than need to drain. I would say you probably want to soak them for a minimum of an hour to make sure they're soaked right through. And you know, it doesn't hurt to let them dry out for an hour or so too, so they're just not so wet when you handle them. A lot of ink's going to come off in your hands. That's one thing you want to keep in mind when they're wet, so you might want to wear gloves when you're working with them. And other than that, that's it. Paper tatami. Have fun.